Hey, what's up everybody? This is Dr. Andrew Kim, MD. I'm a board-certified psychiatrist, and today's video is called 5 Things Not to Say to Someone with Depression. Statistically speaking, either you or someone you know has gone through clinical depression. So you've either been in a position where you've been looking for help and advice, or were in a position to provide some. Now, sometimes even when you have the best intentions, sometimes the things you can say come across wrong or can end up having someone close up more rather than open up more, okay? And this usually stems from not having a full understanding about the basics of clinical depression, not knowing what to say, or sometimes we don't even realize that we still have stigma towards this topic itself. So let's go over 5 common statements that I usually hear being said to someone who has clinical depression that I think you should probably avoid. Statement number 1, hey, snap out of it, get over it, or some version of that. First of all, clinical depression is not a choice. Who wakes up saying, I want to suffer needlessly? I want my work life, my personal life, my school life messed up by depression. Probably nobody, okay? Clinical depression is a medical condition. When is the last time you heard someone say, hey, you know that breast cancer you have? Snap out of it. Hey bro, you know that heart condition you're dealing with? Get over it. Probably never. So why do we have a different attitude towards a serious condition like clinical depression? My answer is a lot of this still has to do with stigma and a misunderstanding of clinical depression. This is not a choice. This is a medical condition. So we need to treat it that way, all right? It's not as simple as snapping out of it. What you probably want to say instead is, how can I support you during this difficult time? Statement number 2, you have nothing to be depressed about. This is another statement that shows a misunderstanding about clinical depression. Many people assume that you need to have a clear-cut cause in order to get clinically depressed. Now, look, it's true. Things like the death of a loved one, financial stress, losing a job, all of these things can be stressors that can trigger an episode of depression, but many people will go through an episode of clinical depression without a clear-cut, big event or big catastrophe in their life. And it just happens, okay? So you need to understand that. Now, also, look, I understand the intention behind the statement is really trying to say, hey, look, there are things that are positive in your life. You have many blessings. There are things that you should be grateful for. So I understand that, but from the other side, the person who's hearing this statement, hey man, you have nothing to be depressed about. It can come across, and the person hearing this may feel like, man, this person is telling me I'm ungrateful, okay? I'm selfish. They're dismissing my feelings, saying I have no right to be depressed. And this can be very off-putting and invalidating, and likely will cause them to not want to open up and rather shut down and not share about what's going on. So it's another statement to probably avoid. Statement number 3. A lot of people have it worse off than you. It could be worse. Okay? Now look, people who are suffering with clinical depression already know this, okay? It's not like you're just suddenly turning on a light bulb and telling them something new. Many people who are going through depression are very conscious and aware that their situation could be worse, that others have it worse off than they do, okay? But because of this, they already typically feel guilt and are dealing with guilt on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis. They're guilty for feeling depressed. They're guilty for not being able to recover faster. They're guilty about the impact it's having on the people in their lives, their loved ones, all right? So when you make this comment to them, all right, it just piles on more shame, piles on more guilt, and just compounds that. So although, again, it has good intentions, you're just almost reminding them about guilt and making them feel more ashamed. So comparisons are not helpful, even though there are good intentions behind it. Statement number 4, just try to be positive. Simply telling someone that they can resolve their clinical depression by an adjustment in their attitude is unrealistic. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say there isn't a benefit in positive thinking and having a positive outlook. Of course, that is the end goal. In cognitive behavioral therapy, we work together with patients to try to help them not have such a pessimistic lens about the view of themselves and their world and their future, and to have just a more open, neutral viewpoint. But this takes time, work, and appropriate treatment, okay? So my point is more about just simply saying a cliche phrase to cheer someone up of think positive is not really going to do it. So let's go back to that analogy of treating depression like an actual medical condition. So let's imagine if I had someone here with diabetes who we needed to control their blood sugar and their high blood sugars with insulin. And if I told them, hey man, you know, for your diabetes, you don't need insulin. Just think positive. You would think I'm crazy, okay? And that would be somewhat negligent. They need appropriate treatment. They need appropriate help. So the same thing applies to depression. Somebody needs appropriate treatment and appropriate, medical care, not just simply thinking positive. If it was as simple as that, they would have taken care of it a long time ago. So it's not as simple as telling someone, turn that frown upside down. What would be more helpful is listening and trying to encourage them to seek appropriate medical or professional help. And finally, we'll wrap it up with statement number 5. You don't need, and you can fill in the blank. Now, I know we've been keeping this video a bit lighthearted, but I want to end this statement summary with a serious note, okay? Unless you are a professional, a licensed, qualified professional in the mental health field or medical field, I don't think you should be telling people exactly how to treat their depression, okay? Too many times have I heard people being on the receiving end of comments like this. You don't need to see a therapist, okay? You just need to get out more. You don't need to talk to your pastor. You just need more sleep. It's just stress, okay? You don't need those antidepressants. I know about this new holistic diet. It does wonders. So forget that antidepressant, okay? Look, everyone has a different path to recovery. So I'm not trying to dismiss however you or others recovered from your own clinical depression. And feel free to share that with your friend, with your family member, your loved one, as you're trying to be supportive. I'm not saying don't share, but don't impose and try to push and force your method of recovery onto that person, okay? Everyone's path to recovery is different, okay? What worked for you may not work for them. It may not be the right timing for them. It may not be safe for them, okay? So leave it to qualified, licensed professionals, whether that's their primary care doctor, a psychiatrist, psychologist, nurse practitioner, licensed clinical social worker, but have them and encourage them to seek out this type of help, rather than saying you don't need. Now, for those of you specifically out there who are watching this, who are anti-psychiatry, anti-psychology, who think the field of mental health is all BS, my specific advice to you is shut the hell up, okay? You will do that person a favor and society a big favor. So look, I hope that you found this video helpful. And look, don't feel afraid to speak to someone who is going through clinical depression. That is not the point of this video. I was trying to add some humor to this, but some seriousness. The most important thing you can do and where you can't go wrong is be there and listen and just try your best to be encouraging and supportive and to push them and encourage them to seek some help, okay? So this is Dr. Andrew Kim. If you enjoyed this video, please like, please subscribe, and please in the comment section below, if you think I missed some other cringeworthy comments and phrases that you've been on the receiving end of, or phrases you regret saying, please leave it in the comments below. I'd like to hear them. Maybe we'll do another video down the road and add to this list. This is Dr. Andrew Kim. I hope you guys are doing well. Be safe, be happy, be well, everyone. Until next time.